Oh, okay. Alright. Okay, no, it's fine. You think if you tug at my little nerd heartstrings, you're gonna get extra love? Well, you're right. Hello, you dirty potters. How are you today? Man, the lighting in this room is amazing. That's a joke you'll get in like a future episode. Welcome to the second episode of Challenge Mode Review, where I challenge you guys to make something usually out of most people's comfort zones, and you guys show me what you got. This specific playlist was made because I've been to way too many art shows and way too many art tables full of tables and tables and tables of people who just do one singular thing. Let's be honest with each other, okay? We've all met that person at an arts and crafts table who's been making bowls for some 20 odd years or cups for some 20 odd years, and that's all they have at their table. And in an attempt to get people out of their comfort zones, make more things, and possibly get people to experiment in fields that they probably didn't even know they liked, I created Challenge Mode. Challenge Mode does two things. Number one, it gets people out of their comfort zones, and number two, it gets all the people out of my DMs who keep asking me for a shout out on my Instagram so they can gain tons of followers out of my DMs. This way, if you actually do want to show off your artwork, or you do want me to give you a shout out, this is specifically for you. I also realized that the majority of you don't want to do something for nothing. So on top of getting that small little shout out, the prize for this time was a brand new Laguna clay pen. It works exactly like the clay pen that I use in the majority of my episodes. The only difference is this one's not dirty yet. Our very first Dirty Potter challenge was on bowls. This one, number 2, is on plates. For those of you who just want to see the winner of the Dirty Potter challenge and you want to be out, you don't want to see anyone else's artwork, or you don't want to do that thing where you're like, oh man, I hope he shows my artwork, then you can just click the like button, click on this timestamp right here, see who the winner is, see if it's you or not, and be on your merry little way, sitting on the couch, watching Carnival Row. I'm actually super into Carnival Row right now. But of course it wouldn't be much of a challenge if I just said make a plate and send it in. So each and every challenge comes with parameters and a certain difficulty level. Now if you're new to the channel and you're watching this Dirty Potter challenge review for the very first time, usually what I do is challenge some people and I give them a set of parameters. These parameters are things like the plate can't be round, the bowl must be trimmed, things that would make it a little bit more difficult or that I don't usually see in the craft world. And as long as you follow those parameters and post your pictures of what you're actually doing and the finished product with the hashtag Dirty Potter Challenge on it, then you're fine. You're automatically entered into the contest. A contest that could have won you this really nice half kilt here. Something I actually didn't notice before on this apron, this has little tiny pockets. So if you want to stick some of your brushes in there, ta-da! And the way this usually works is that I send out a video challenging people and telling them the parameters and how difficult the thing that I'm asking them to do actually is. This video is the review video, which means the entries are already closed and I already have all the pictures and all the names and all the people who properly put the hashtag on their social media platforms so I can find them very easily. Thank you, by the way, you guys did a really good job. Now before we get started, there is one thing that I should really address about the posts on Instagram. There is way too many subdivisions of my pottery channel, like Dirty Potter hashtag and Dirty Potters for life, and there's a Earth Nation surround. Okay, that one might be me, but the rest of them are definitely not me, but they're all offshoots of some kind of weird cult following pottery culture going on with my channel. I mean, I'm not trying to control you guys, but I feel like I should have some kind of overhead over these things. There's Dirty Potters Forever and Dirty Pottery Head and Dirty Potter 30, which I can only assume is people who like this channel who are over the age of 30. Dirty Potter Jokes, which I mean is just kind of my life, to be honest. Are you guys just like making up hashtags? Hold on, there's a second page. And of course the way I'm finding these weird offshoot hashtags of my channel is that you guys are supposed to post the thing on your social media with the hashtag Dirty Potter Challenge. But of course I have to post Dirty Potter in there first. And all these other names come up. There's even one that says the Dirty Potter Challenge because the E and the W are next to each other on your guys' keyboards and some of you type really fast. I'm actually really happy to see a lot of you stepping out of your comfort zones. When I go into your profiles, I see nothing but bowls, and then we get to the Dirty Potter Challenge and I see a plate with my exact parameters, and I'm so happy that you guys have stepped out of your comfort zones. To boot, I'm actually really excited for some of the plates we're about to see, because even though we had close to 100 people last time enter Dirty Potter Challenge number 1, you best believe there's a lot more in Dirty Potter Challenge number 2. That being said, let's get underway and let's review some of these plates. Now, for those of you who don't know or you didn't see the last Dirty Potter Challenge actual challenge video, the parameters this time were number 1, you're not allowed to make a round plate. It could be any other shape. It can be ovular, it can be close to round, but it could not be round. The second parameter is that you could not trim the bottom. This kind of stopped a lot of people from just picking a plate they've already made and recorded and just giving it to me, so that way they have to make a whole new plate. These parameters are supposed to be out of the box, a little bit different from just a normal plate. This first entry here is from Arkansas Potter. Oh, you're gonna do that to me? You're just gonna do this to me right out of the gate? This is the first plate I reviewed. You can't just make them look this good. Arkansas Potter did very well at making this picture look all out gorgeous. It's not round, so it is within the rules, and if we skip to the other picture over here, yep, there's the back of the plate with their signature on it and everything, just to make sure that they were the one that made it. And the bottom is not trimmed. This totally counts. The thing that really tied all this in for me in one picture is the very last picture right here. This picture is a close-up of the plate itself. It shows the non-trimmed bottom, there's a nice dinnerware set next to it, the brown, it's not even about the pottery at this point, it's the setting in which the pottery is in that makes it look so nice. Don't get me wrong, it's within the rules and it is a nice plate, but this person did a kind of setup. I still can't decide whether I should say their name Arkansas Potter or Arkansas Potter. Either way, that's a really nice plate. Thank you very much. This next entry is from Alchemy and Pottery. You know, I always really enjoy whenever you guys show me pictures of you actually making the thing. It's not a hardcore requirement, but it does help me get out of my brain that like you guys may have cheated. I've had people try and cheat before on the very first pottery challenge, believe you me. And having me see you actually make the plate kind of puts that to rest a little bit. And of course, from Alchemy and Pottery, we have the very final picture of the finished plate. This doesn't look too bad. I will say that it's definitely not round. They went for a very interesting shape here. It almost looks kind of like a sideways shield, like a paladin shield or something like that. I even like that you put a little bio, a little bit of information on himself underneath his post as he was making it. He says, "This is Sean. This is the first thing I've made since I was 6 years old." Wow, people are coming out the woodwork from their childhood for this? Wow. Considering that this is the first thing you've made since you were 6, this isn't too bad. This is also a very interesting shape. I don't think anyone else really tried to do something like this faceted, folded over edged kind of plate of a rectangular shape. No one's tried to do this. Most people just made a round plate and then was like, meh. The whole thing's not circular and that counts. This one is from Radical Gardener on Instagram. You know, in the bisque form, this one doesn't look too impressive. This just kind of looks like someone rolled out a slab and then drew a flower in it and was like,
there, it's not round. Technically, it's a plate.
But then you switch over to the finished product and you find that this guy's like a master of glazing. I feel a little bit offended that I was tricked in such a way. But also I feel a little bit stupid for underestimating you, so I guess we're both wrong. No, I'm just wrong? No, we're both wrong. Take it or leave it. When I saw this one, I was actually really amazed because this kind of looks like they used a technique that I haven't taught you guys yet, which is the Inlay Technique. It's very simple. If you ever draw anything, you put glaze on the inside of the texture or the inside of whatever you drew, and then you can very easily wipe away the rest of the glaze before you glaze the rest of it, which leaves a really nice blue indent or any color you put in there, while the rest of the pattern happens to be a different color. And that kind of looks like what he did here. As I said before, I'm always really impressed whenever you guys use techniques that I haven't taught you yet. I understand, I get that you have the entirety of the internet to learn from, and it's not just me, but I'm always really excited whenever you guys take that initiative for yourselves. This one was one of my favorite ones. This one comes from a person named Made in Nagstat on Instagram. I'm very sorry if I just butchered your name. This person pretty much just made tiny little clay strips, smushed them down, right, and then soldered them or put them or scored and slipped them. I'm not really sure what they did. It looks like it was a score and slip job, right back together. Let them dry very slowly, and then made a really nice iron saturated glazed plate with it. At first I had no idea what this person was making. I was like, is this man trying to make a table out of clay? But no, as it turns out, he was just being really creative. This is technically a composite piece. A composite piece is where you just take multiple parts of something and put them together to make a whole. Little composites coming together. Usually people do it when they make a pot and add another pot and they keep stacking on each other. We'll get to that fairly soon, but I'm massively impressed that this person actually made a non-round, non-bottom plate with it. This is clearly within the rules. You know what? Good form. Good form, pizza pan. This one is from Ambus Fly on Instagram. You know, this one almost passed me up because the second I looked at this picture, I was like, okay, come on, that's like 95% round. You just made a tiny little dent in there. And then I kept scrolling and saw that they didn't trim their bottom and they put their signature at the bottom and they made a couple of plates, which is something I always suggest when you're taking on any commission, not only the Dirty Potter Challenge. Don't be the guy who made one plate, that plate failed, and now you don't have the time extra to go over and make another plate. Make a batch of them and just enter all of them, and I'll assume the best one is the one you wanted me to see. This one is actually quite impressive, but I will say it's not impressive for the plate. But then you keep going down the pictures and you get to see the glaze job. And the glaze job is essentially a really nice oil spot glaze. To be fair, I don't know if it's an oil spot glaze, but it sure does look like it. This one is from Carlo Potter on Instagram. You know what, I think we're just gonna go through Instagram and then we'll go through Facebook and then we'll go through Twitter and then we'll go through... You know, I can't really tell if these ones are slip cast or if they're handcrafted and someone just kind of pinched on a little foot to them. But this technically is within the rules. When I first made that video and I had told you guys, hey, no trimming whatsoever. You may not trim the bottom of your plate. You can trim the top if you want, but don't trim the bottom. If I see that, or I see any trim marks, you'll be disqualified. There were a couple people on Instagram that were like, okay, but like, let's say I don't trim the bottom, but I just add on a bottom or a foot with extra clay. And to be honest, that's kind of what I was hoping for some of you. I was hoping for some of you to think outside of the box and be like, well, I can't trim it, but adding on extra clay isn't really trimming now, is it? I also did say that slip casting is okay in this challenge, so nothing would break the rules in this picture at all. I like that she gave me a picture of her wax resisting and making the bottoms, and then she also gave me a picture of her glazing the top of the plates, and then she gave me a final photo of the plates. They're really nice. They're really nice. It's always really interesting to see what the glaze work looks like versus what the final product looks like, because glaze chemistry is super weird. Half of the time you see a color that's in a jar and it's red, it'll turn out blue. These two plates are really nice. Thank you, Carlo Potter. Oh, okay. All right. Okay, no, it's fine. You think if you tug at my little nerd heartstrings, you're gonna get extra love? Well, you're right. I think this person's been following me long enough to understand that my channel is pseudo based off of Avatar: The Last Airbender. I'm a giant weeaboo. I love anime. I love Avatar: The Last Airbender. Even though Avatar: The Last Airbender is technically an anime, don't at me. I don't even think this person wants to be entered into the challenge. I think this person really just wanted me to see that they can make an Earth Kingdom style anime-esque plate. I was supremely impressed when somebody made this. To be fair, I think if you really put your heart into it, it wouldn't be too difficult to make. But the fact that someone knows the history of the channel that well and has been following me for that long and can clearly, like, they see the connection, tells me that they understand what I'm into, and it's kind of sweet in a way, to be honest with you. It's kind of cute. Oh, this one is fire, as the kids would say. This one is from Cindy Swain 904 on Instagram, and I'm pretty sure she's been following me for quite some time. Let's just take a look at this plate. Just give a second to appreciate this plate, though. It looks like a really nice plate, right? It kind of looks like she made a plate. She put a little flange on it and decided to morph the sides, and that's great. She made a lotus flower with it. That's fantastic. That's not super hard, but that's really cool. And then she didn't trim the bottom, and she put her name on the bottom. That's all good. That's a walk in the park. This looks fairly normal so far. This looks like a good entry. And then boom, she hits you with the picture. Do you see this? This is really nice. It honestly goes along with the motif of the entire piece. Think about it. She made a flower, there's a base, and there's petals. She decided to glaze the petals a different part than the base, which forces your eyes to separate those two parts, which is kind of what plates are all about. Even if you get a plate from your cabinet, it's one of two things. It's either a completely flat surface, or it's a flat surface, it raises up a tiny bit, and then it has a flange. That flange is usually separated by a line, and most people who make plates like to separate those two things. They like to glaze the flange and then leave the base a different color. It makes them different, it makes them interesting. Except for this time, she made a lotus flower. Companies already like to separate the flange from the base of the plate. It really helps the eye separate those two things. And a lot of crafters will do the same thing. They'll make the flange a different color than the base of the plate. And that seems fine and dandy, until somebody made a lotus flower out of it. That's cute, adorable, and actually kind of smart. She did the most basic thing you could do as far as art theory goes. She made the interesting parts a different color from the regular parts, which forces you to look at them as a separate entity, as a separate thing. Now your eye kind of catches two different parts of it instead of her just glazing the entire thing as one piece and you going, cool, that's a flower plate that just looks brown. Now it's a flower plate that looks brown and is red/blue on the petals of it. Someone actually put concentration and effort into this, and I'm honestly really impressed. EU Banks Andre on Instagram kind of did the same thing. He made a plate, he showed me the bottom, it wasn't trimmed, and then you go to the actual finished product picture and you see that he colored the bottom differently from the top. Are these two in cahoots? Huh? Huh? You guys in cahoots? This person's been following me for quite some time actually. I think it's Andre. I'm just gonna call you EU Banks though, if you don't mind, from Instagram. The thing that really sets this one apart is that there's a little tiny splash of green right in the middle. The last picture had a separation from the bottom and then the sides, right? Or at least the flange. And the flange looks different. It was a lotus. This one looks different as well. The difference is I think he glazed it that way, looked at it and was like, yeah, that's nice, but swag. And you can really see that the base of that plate is kind of a semi-matte texture. And then the green that I put on there clearly has a lot more silica or glass former in there. So I really like that you can see the difference in between, like, okay, this is semi-matte, semi-matte, semi-matte. And then it gets to this one spot right here and it's super glossy and you can see all the way through down the body. Thank you for that. Those two plates were actually really nice, especially that lotus one. That lotus one looks like it took some time. Okay, this one kind of blew me away. This one is from Mildly Meditated Pottery on Instagram. I really like it when you guys post pictures all the way through. I can't collect every picture, but this one, she took my advice. She made multiple plates, right? Then she bisqued multiple plates. She glazed multiple plates. She put multiple plates in there. And then they finally came out as a final product where she flipped it upside down, showed me she didn't trim the bottom, and she did sign it. This one is a very good entry. Thank you for following all the rules. I know I keep saying that, but you'd be surprised how many people just don't follow the rules, and then they get mad that they didn't get entered. Notice two things, right? Notice that number one, in the very first picture, there were 4 plates. And then as we go through the pictures, there end up being 3 plates, which is good. Much like my advice earlier, she made multiple plates for the reason that one of them might fail. Imagine if she just made that one plate. The second thing that I want you to notice is that after all the plates were done, she put food inside of one of the plates, took a picture, and then tagged me in it. This is hilarious because almost no one else does this, but it is what the plate is intended for. It's really cool that you put a picture of, like, look, it does the thing that it's supposed to do, technically. It's functional. There was no functional requirement on this one. You didn't have to put anything functional in there. You could have made it out of wood. You could have made it out of metal just because it's a pottery challenge. You didn't have to use clay as a medium. But either her mentality was,
yeah, these are actually gonna look really nice when I set them up and take a picture for the Dirty Potter Challenge.
Or she thought,
I'm gonna put food on these plates before I post them to Donte's Instagram, because I know that little fat Potter loves food.
Both of which, as much as it hurts me to say, are correct technically. This one is from Bear Paw Handworks on Instagram. This one was really nice. This one also kind of looks like the same style that Andre Ebanks did. This one kind of looks like you made a plate, you kind of morphed the edges because the edges aren't allowed to be round. You showed me the bottom. I don't see a signature on the bottom technically, but I know that you, oh, you got me. I feel like I just got debated. Technically, I did say that the signature has to be on the plate. It doesn't have to be on the back. But this person put the signature on the front. That's, you know what? I give you extra points just for that. I also like the little comment he put at the bottom. It says, so this is an interesting challenge. Never did plate colors before. Didn't come out the way I wanted to, but I learned a lot of stuff. Which is good. This is kind of what the entire challenge is about, is learning how to work with your medium. You know, you want to make plates look super cool, but you're kind of afraid to try them or you're discouraged. Well, this will push you in that direction. So I'm actually really happy, Bear Paw Handworks, that this worked for you in the way that I intended it to work for you. Oh, we got a little video with this one too. Let's watch.
All right, Mr. Donte, master of the Dirty Potter Challenge. This is the finished plate, first one I've ever done. Thank you for pushing me to do it. I would have never probably got into this without that. I worry about the cracking and all that stuff, so I just kind of never thought about doing it. I have the edges manipulated my stamp in the middle. I'm not real happy with the colors. I tried Celadon from Amico, and I guess green rules, because I put a little bit of green, especially right here on the side, barely a little bits, and then I couple 3 coats of a pink and a yellow, and obviously the green is powerful. But I learned, and that's what this is all about, I think.
This one made me bust up when I saw it, actually. This one is from Morganica on Instagram. This person also actually posted this on my Discord and on Instagram. When I saw it, I was like, what are you making? And then I got to see it as it went along, and I was like, I don't understand what's going on here. And then I looked at the bottom of the title, and it said, I heard you like butts. And then she made a plate out of Corgi booty. It's even glazed correctly. It's almost sculpture, to be honest with you. It's a little bit messed up because before I saw the picture, I saw the caption, and she was like, I heard you like butts. Yeah. And then I saw that it was a sculpture of a dog butt, and I was like, yeah. Dog butts are 100% better than Instagram thought butts. For different reasons. Because one of those things gets attention because they're so cute and adorable, and the other one needs attention because they think they're so cute and adorable. This one is from the Bees, Rights, and Pots on Instagram. You know, I could have sworn this person entered the last competition and their name was just the Bees, Rights. It's nice to see that pottery has had such a profound impact on your life that you literally changed your Instagram name to the Bees, Rights, and Pots. I could be wrong about that. I could go back and watch my old episodes and see that it was just the Bees, Rights, and Pots and not only the Bees, Rights, but I feel like the pot part wasn't there before. This one is really interesting because I kind of see what they tried to do here. It kind of looks like they just got a cast of a heart, put clay inside of it, and then trimmed it off. But you can clearly see they kind of tried to like make little hearts on the upper left hand side, inside of the heart, and inside of those little hearts were more little hearts. I don't know if it worked out all that well, but I can clearly see in the final product that they kind of highlighted that part with glaze, so they're like, look, I did it, it's visible, damn it. I really wish I would have done the episode on the inlay technique before this challenge, because then you could have definitely put glaze inside of it to kind of outline it and draw it, and that would have been more visible. But I see what you definitely tried to do. It's still a really nice plate, and there's the giant letter love in the middle of it, as if you could get any more Valentine's Day. Okay, we're done with everyone who's kind of followed the rules over there on Instagram, or at least the ones that I can get through without making this video like 2 hours long. Let's go over to my Discord server, where our first entry is Sherry. Sherry released a whole paragraph of information, and I think she tried to post it on Clay Buddies first, and then they took it down. I'm sorry about that, Clay Buddies, if you are watching. But I see the back of the plate there, and I see a couple other pictures of the front of the plate. Now here's the cool thing. This looks very 1980, 1985's Take On Me kind of art style. You know, when you see that music video, you can kind of imagine this as well. But the final product looks nothing like that. The final product is actually very, very well glazed. I always enjoy art pieces like this because it really shows the skill of the actual crafter or painter. I will say though, as to my point earlier, you can see that this is a plate. You can see that there's a bottom part and there's a separation right before she glazed it, right there. You can clearly see the outer circle. And for a while I was like, okay, this just looks like a round plate. I don't know what's going on here. And then you see the final glazed picture and you're like, okay, I see it. It's not perfectly round, I guess. I'm actually far more impressed with how well you stayed inside the lines of, like, I don't know 20-year-olds that can stay in the lines, let alone the 10-year-olds with coloring books. And you decided to do it with the Dirty Potter Challenge. So I'm actually extremely impressed, Sherry. Thank you for showing me this. This one was actually really nice as well. This one comes from Bobby Cakes on Instagram. I do like that she actually showed herself making the plate. There's a whole entire process to this. It kind of looks like she made a base and then made a couple textures of leaves and a couple sculptures of leaves and tied them together to that base, and that's kind of what held them up. Oh, this one also has a video. Let's check that out. You can clearly see that she made the actual leaves of clay beforehand, and then there's a base to the very bottom of it, which she did not trim, to be fair. This is really creative. I like this a lot. I actually really like the color of Bobby's flowers here. You can see that she clearly colored one differently from the other. Like the inside leaves are green because they're leaves, and the outside leaves are this really kind of purplish, kind of raku colored thing. I don't know if this is raku, but I highly doubt it, to be honest with you. It doesn't look like, my Potter senses are saying this isn't raku, but it still looks really nice. Thank you, Bobby. Thank you very much for sharing this with me. Oh, we have another one from Alchemy and Pottery on Instagram. You know, I think that Alchemy and Pottery is technically a couple. Okay, hold on, wait, there's a third this whole family has a shared Instagram account, and they all entered the Dirty Potter Challenge. I guess this is the son of Alchemy and Pottery, and he has a little video to show. I'm gonna show it to you. It's hilarious and adorable, and you're gonna watch it, and afterwards you're gonna click the like button.
Is this for your Dirty Potter Challenge? Did you make it for the Dirty Potter Challenge?
I made this to eat out of.
Yeah. But you told me you wanted to do the contest with Daddy and Mommy.
Cheese.
Did you just say cheese and nobody could see your smile?
I like how he looks really confused there, like, and then his brain kicks on, like, I have to do something. I can't just stand here and look left and right. So he puts the plate in front of his face and is like, ah! Like he's nervous, but he's also proud to show the plate, so he's just holding it in front of his face, like, please don't look at me. Here's the plate, go away. This one was really adorable. We have a video of him making the plate. We have pictures of him glazing the plate. This is a good note to end on. This one's super adorable. I'm honestly really impressed with those colors. If I wasn't super duper sure that his parents just set up like a bunch of colors in front of him, and he was like,
I don't know what these do, but hopefully they look real good together.
That's kind of what half the newer Potters do. They're just like, I don't know what these colors do, but hopefully they make something good. And anytime they make something good, you write it down and you do that again. And that's now in your gambit of glaze combinations you have. It even has a little sentence on him at the bottom when he's making the plate. This is my son Asher, part of the Dirty Potter Challenge. No, we gotta turn this off. If my girlfriend comes in here and sees this, she's gonna want a kid immediately. You know, it's really weird because my heart is kind of like melting right now, and I sort of want Asher just to win. But what is Asher gonna do with the grand prize? Look, I'm 6'10", 210 pounds. Of this would not fit him. Oh, these are really hard to choose from, but unfortunately, I chose a winner like a week ago. The winner of the Dirty Potter Challenge number 2, that brush and this beautiful Laguna clay apron that is brand new, except for the fact that I've been wearing it the whole video, is made in Magstat. Thank you very much for your entry. I was very, very impressed with your entry. I was super impressed the fact that you took them in little strips, you measured it out, your final product became really, really congruent. There's a nice arch to it, and the glaze is fantastic. You didn't just make a plate and morph one little part of it. You actually made a plate out of individual pieces that were never meant to be a plate, and I'm massively impressed with it, including the bronze metallic glaze. You are the winner of the Dirty Potter Challenge number 2. I will be contacting you very soon on Instagram. If this person does not answer within the month, this prize will go to the next winner of the Dirty Potter Challenge. That means once we get to review number 3, if that person does not take this prize or answer their DMs on Instagram where they originally posted, this, as well as the next prize, will go on to that person as well. Well, thank you, Dirty Potters, for joining me today. I really hope that you guys like to see a lot of other people's artwork. If you'd like to see any more of my actual artwork, the links are always down below. If you want to see the dank memes, just go ahead and join my Instagram or my Discord community. We have like a special spot specifically for pottery memes in our Discord. We've been doing them for so long that people on my Discord are starting to actually make pottery memes. With that being said, all the links are down below. I love your Dirty Potter faces, and I will see you, Dirty Potters, next week.